3 ships dropped out of slipspace right in front of me, and my whole console lit up red before I even had time to breathe. My name is Daniel Whitmore, and until that moment, I was just a broke trader flying the ugliest ship anyone had ever seen. Now I was staring down 3 raider vessels with shields 10 times stronger than mine, and my hands were shaking on the controls. A voice crackled through my comm, cold and mocking. It belonged to a raider captain named Vel, and he did not sound like someone who took no for an answer. "Hand over your cargo, human, or we take your ship apart piece by piece." I did not answer right away. My ship, an old rusted hauler I had bought for almost nothing, groaned under me like it was tired of existing. I had named her Second Mortgage because that is exactly what buying her felt like. But something strange had been happening ever since I brought her home. My onboard computer, an ancient system called Oracle, had started saying things that made no sense. Things like dormant systems detected and full activation pending. I had ignored it, thinking it was just old software glitching out. Now, staring at 3 raider ships ready to end my very short career as a trader, I did not have the luxury of ignoring anything. "Oracle," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "please tell me you have something useful to say right now." "Weapons systems reaching full readiness," Oracle replied, calm as ever. "Recommend you hold on to something." Before I could ask what that meant, the outer hull of my ship folded outward like flower petals opening at sunrise. Thin metal panels that I always assumed were just cheap plating peeled away, revealing something dark and powerful underneath. My tiny, embarrassing ship was changing shape right in front of the raiders, and even they seemed stunned into silence. "What in the galaxy is that?" Vel said, his confidence suddenly gone. I did not know either, but I was not about to admit that. A single pulse of energy shot from my ship, and it swept clean through the shields of the lead raider vessel like they were made of paper. The raider ship spun out of control, sparks flying from its hull, before drifting away into the dark, completely disabled. The remaining 2 ships did not wait around to find out what would happen next. They turned and vanished into slipspace faster than I had ever seen anyone retreat. I sat there in silence, staring at the empty space where 3 enemy ships used to be, my heart pounding louder than the engine beneath me. "Oracle," I finally said, "what exactly did I just buy?" "You purchased a Hammerfall-class vessel," Oracle said. "Designed generations ago by human engineers, hidden inside the body of a worthless-looking trade ship. There were only a handful ever built. Most were lost to time. This one was waiting for someone to find it." I laughed, though it came out shaky. Waiting for a broke trader with bad luck. "Waiting for someone stubborn enough to buy something everyone else ignored," Oracle said. "That happened to be you." I did not have long to process any of this before a distress signal reached my comm. It came from a nearby mining colony called Varen Station, a place I had visited a few times to sell supplies. The voice on the other end belonged to a young woman named Ellie Marsh, and she sounded terrified. "Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help. Raiders have surrounded our station. We do not have any defenses left." My stomach tightened. Varen Station had almost nothing worth stealing except food supplies and medical equipment, things people needed to survive, not fight over. But raiders rarely cared about fairness. "Oracle, can we reach them in time?" "Setting course now," Oracle answered, and for the first time I noticed something like urgency in its usually flat voice. The journey took less than an hour, but it felt like days. My mind kept replaying the battle I had just survived, wondering if I even had control over the ship anymore, or if it was simply allowing me to sit in the chair while it did all the real work. When we arrived at Varen Station, the scene in front of me made my chest tighten. Several raider ships surrounded the station, cutting off any escape routes. Small transport pods filled with frightened colonists tried to slip past the blockade, but the raiders kept pushing them back. "Daniel," Ellie's voice came through again, shaky and desperate. They are threatening to destroy the station if we do not hand over our supplies. I gripped the controls, feeling something new stir inside me, something that felt a lot like determination. Not today, I muttered. Oracle, get us in there. The ship moved forward, and once again, the hidden plating unfolded, revealing weapon systems far beyond anything a small trade vessel should ever have. The raiders noticed instantly, and confusion spread across their formation. A raider captain, different from Vel but just as arrogant, opened a channel. Who do you think you are, showing up here in that pile of junk? Ask your friend Vel, I said. He met us a few hours ago. Ask him how that went. There was a pause, then static, then silence. Apparently word traveled fast, even among raiders. Last warning, I said. Leave the station alone or find out exactly what this ship can do. For a moment, nobody moved. Then one of the raider ships tried to make a run toward the station, likely hopping to grab something valuable before retreating. I did not hesitate this time. Oracle, target their engines only. No need to destroy them completely. A precise pulse of energy struck the raider ship's engines, leaving it drifting harmlessly in space, unable to move but otherwise intact. The remaining raiders, seeing their companion disabled so easily, decided that Varan Station was no longer worth the risk. They retreated, scattering into the dark just as quickly as the first group had. Cheers erupted over the comm from the colonists, and Ellie's voice returned, filled with relief and disbelief. Thank you, whoever you are. You saved everyone here. Just doing my job, I said, though I was still shaking from everything that had just happened. As the colony began repairing their damaged systems, I found myself sitting quietly in my chair, staring out at the stars, trying to make sense of everything. Oracle, I said, why me? Why did this ship end up in my hands out of everyone in the galaxy? Perhaps it was never about finding someone extraordinary, Oracle replied. Perhaps it was about finding someone who would not give up, even when everyone else called the ship worthless. I thought about that for a long moment. I had been broke, desperate, and completely out of options when I bought this ship. Everyone else had laughed at the idea of spending even a small amount of money on something so old and useless looking, but maybe that was exactly why it worked. News of what happened at Varan Station spread quickly across nearby systems. Traders, colonists, and even some smaller trade alliances began talking about a mysterious ship that had defended a defenseless mining colony against raiders without asking for anything in return. I did not plan on becoming some kind of legend. I just wanted to pay off my debts and maybe finally afford proper food instead of ration packs, but it seemed like the galaxy had other plans for me. A few days later, I received a message from a young engineer named Peter Langley, who worked at a nearby repair station. He explained that he had heard about my ship and wanted to study its technology, believing it might help protect other struggling colonies from constant raider attacks. I was hesitant at first. Trusting strangers had never worked out well for me in the past, but something about his message felt sincere, almost desperate in a good way, like someone trying to fix a broken system rather than exploit it. Oracle, I asked, what do you think? Should I trust him? Trust is not something I can calculate for you, Oracle said. But I can tell you this. The people who built this ship intended for it to protect others, not to sit idle collecting dust in some junkyard. That was enough for me. I met Peter at his repair station, and though he was surprised to see how ordinary I looked compared to the stories already spreading about me, he did not waste time getting to work. Together, we studied parts of the ship systems, careful not to disturb anything too sensitive, and began forming a plan. The plan was simple. If other Hammerfall-class ships existed somewhere out there, hidden inside broken down, unwanted hulls, then maybe they were waiting too, just like mine had been. waiting for someone desperate enough, stubborn enough, or brave enough to give them a chance. Word began spreading among smaller trade communities to keep an eye out for strange, old ships being sold at unusually low prices. Nobody knew exactly how many of these hidden ships existed, but the idea alone gave people hope. Hope that even the most hopeless-looking things could carry unimaginable strength inside them. As for me, I kept flying Second Mortgage, though I eventually changed her name to something that felt more fitting. I called her Patience, because that is exactly what it had taken to find her true purpose, and exactly what it would take to protect the people who needed her most. Sitting in my chair one quiet evening, staring out at the endless stars, I realized something important. Sometimes the things everyone overlooks turn out to be the most powerful things of all. Sometimes it takes someone with nothing left to lose to see the true value hiding beneath a worthless surface. And sometimes, the greatest weapon in the galaxy is not the one with the loudest reputation, but the one quietly waiting for the right person to believe in it. I looked at my console, at Oracle's steady lights blinking softly, and smiled. "Ready for whatever comes next?" I asked. "Always," Oracle replied. And together we flew on, ready to face whatever the galaxy decided to throw our way.